When it comes to the number of guns in the US, really nobody knows. There's some safe estimates. I think a lot of times people just throw random numbers out there. Because I think if you asked 20 different people, you'd probably get 20 different answers. And all of them would base them on some sort of thing they read or knowledge set that they have. So I want to take a moment and talk about kind of the more realistic numbers, but not just how many guns are in the US, but how many guns are for sale, like how many actually are circulating the US right now in different gun stores, gun shows throughout this country. Well, the only way to really know, well, there's really no way to know. The only way to really estimate is based on the most accurate predictions of how many guns there are in the US. Let's start with that. Because the only way to really kind of even get close is to look at manufacturing data, import data, because places like Sturm Ruger and Smith & Wesson, they can tell you how many guns they've manufactured over the last several decades. And you take that number, mixed with what was probably around before all this data started, combined with, again, the import, because we can look at how many guns are being imported. And ultimately what you come up with is you come up with a number that revolves around 433 million. 433 million guns in the US, most of which are owned and in somebody's safe somewhere, or millions of people's safe, not one person, but millions of people. But how many are actually circulating? Well, this number is a little more difficult to get to. This number is, again, based off of the number of guns that have been produced, the number of guns that have been imported, combined with the volume of sales from the NICS background check. That the best estimate on the amount of guns circulating the US, and again, they give a probability error of about 5%, but when I give you this number, that's a big number. 5% is a big number. But ultimately what you're looking at is they're predicting 30% of the guns in the US are circulating the US right now. That number seems high to me, but when you actually do the calculation, you realize what 30% is. That makes sense. So right now, what you're looking at is, if you do the calculation, you're looking at 129,900,000 guns circulating the US right now. Again, this is not going to be an accurate number, but based off of the research, it's about as close as you're probably going to get. So in 2023, what you had roughly 16.9 million guns sold. So almost 17 million guns sold, which would have been about 10 to 15% of really the overall guns circulating in the US. So this number makes a little more sense to me once you kind of realize, well, how many guns are actually being sold each year compared to produced. And of course, this is just going to be based off of distributor data, production data. Obviously, nobody called every gun store and asked them what their inventory was. The ATF does not keep track of inventory necessarily so much as they do what's sold in the gun stores. So this number is definitely going to be just an estimate. I think that it is generous to say that it's a 5% error. I would say probably more like a 10 to 15% error. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But right now, the best estimate that most people have is that you have roughly 129,900,000 guns for sale in the US right now. So there you go. Love to know your thoughts on any of this. Definitely put it below. If you have any insight on it, love to hear that as well. Please put that below. But the most important part of this channel, we take prayer requests. So please don't ever hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.